There is a type of intelligence that no one talks about. You won't find it in classrooms. It's not taught in books. No one gives lessons in this kind of power. Yet everyone senses it, and everyone fears it the moment they feel it. It doesn't shine. It doesn't seek applause. It moves in shadows, quiet, invisible, surgical. You've seen it. You know it. The man who never raises his voice but somehow controls the room. The woman who smiles politely while pulling strings no one else sees. They rarely speak, but when they do, people listen. Not because of volume, but because of precision. This is dark intelligence, a kind of mind that doesn't react. It watches. It waits. It positions itself carefully. It doesn't fight. It ends things quietly. Machiavelli didn't admire intelligence for brilliance. He admired it for its danger, for its ability to dominate without being seen. If you've always felt different, not softer, but sharper, this is for you. Once you understand this, you can never go back to ordinary. Dark intelligence doesn't start with learning. It begins with noticing. At first, you stay quiet. You observe more than you speak. You listen to people long enough to hear the cracks in their stories. You smile at jokes that aren't funny, not because you're amused, but because you're watching who needs approval. You're not cold yet, but you're learning. The world runs on chaos. People fight over nothing. They defend lies to protect their egos. They speak loudly when they're afraid. They pretend to be strong while falling apart inside. You see it all, and slowly, you start decoding the patterns behind the chaos. It starts with one simple truth. People are predictable when they feel safe. That's where you slip in silently. You learn to ask the right questions, not for answers, but to reveal what they hide. You let silence do the work. Their discomfort exposes them. While they believe you're harmless, you're gathering intelligence. Dark intelligence doesn't need noise. It thrives where others feel too secure to guard themselves. And quietly, your mind begins to change. You no longer see people as they pretend to be. You see utility, weakness, leverage, risk. You see the liar before they speak, the insecure before they show off, the traitor before they betray. You become 5 seconds faster than everyone else. 5 steps ahead. Your mind stops being emotional. It becomes tactical. This is the first step into darkness. Dark intelligence isn't measured by IQ, charm, or hard work. It's measured by control. Control over perception, over outcomes, over people, without ever being noticed. The first step is emotional detachment. You no longer react the way others expect. Insults don't provoke you. Pressure doesn't break you. Anger becomes analysis. Sadness becomes strategy. Fear becomes foresight. You don't let emotions drive your actions. You let them reveal the weaknesses of others. While they scream and panic, you calculate. Your silence is sharpening your mind. The second trait is surgical observation. You don't just look at people, you dissect them. You notice the twitch of a hand, the shift in tone, the pause before a lie. You see the cracks in their stories. You hear the words left unsaid. This makes you unnerving. People feel exposed around you even if they don't know why. You sense betrayal before it happens. You expect it, and you watch for it. The third trait is controlled presence. When you enter a room, you don't need to speak to be noticed. Your silence is louder than others shouting. You reveal just enough to be interesting, never enough to be predictable. Mystery is power. You make people cautious without uttering a word. Rarity becomes authority. The fourth trait is strategic speech. Words are weapons, not fillers. You speak to guide, not to convince. Questions become tools. Pauses become leverage. Silence becomes a signal. You don't argue. You influence. You lead others to convince themselves. The fifth trait is unshakable self-reliance. You need nothing, no approval, no recognition, no understanding. You are your own source of validation. When someone tries to manipulate you, guilt, shame, and obligation have no effect. You move like a ghost, appear when strategic, disappear when advantageous. Your absence becomes punishment. People fear what they cannot control. These 5 traits don't make you unfeeling. They make you precise. They transform you into an anomaly in a world of noise. People can't explain it, but they know you are different. They feel it. You are not just intelligent, you are dangerous. Every conversation, every interaction becomes a battlefield. Every word, a weapon. Every silence, a signal. You are no longer naive. You see the game for what it is, and you play it on your terms. The world will begin to respond to your presence, not because you demand respect, not because you create fear, but because they sense you are untouchable. This is the beginning of quiet domination, the foundation of dark intelligence in motion. Dark intelligence is nothing without action. Observation alone is power, but applied observation becomes lethal. The first rule: control conversations without dominating them. Most people speak to impress, to win, or to prove themselves. You speak to guide, to extract, to influence. Let others talk. Let them reveal patterns, weaknesses, and desires. Ask questions that seem innocent, questions that slice through pretense and force truth to the surface. What made you decide that? How did that feel for you? What happened next? These are not casual questions. They are tools. They gather information while appearing harmless. Say just enough to nudge thinking, never enough to expose your intentions. You control the conversation from the inside. The second rule: use silence as pressure. People rush to fill silence. They justify, explain, apologize, panic. You remain still. You let them drown in their own guilt, their own insecurity. The weight of your gaze, the pause in your voice, becomes a force. Stillness itself becomes power. Third, mirror, then redirect emotions. Anger, insecurity, pride. Reflect it first, then turn it. Twist their energy to align with your strategy. Anger is deflected to another target. Insecurity is softened with calculated flattery. Pride is channeled toward your goal. Manipulation does not require force. It requires patience, precision, and subtlety. Fourth, never announce intentions. After achieving the goal, never explain your motives. Let misunderstanding linger. Let misjudgment persist. When the outcome favors you, reveal the truth quietly. Let them realize, too late, that they were part of your design. This is power they cannot contest. Fifth, act without emotional investment. Most people punish for ego, for revenge, for satisfaction. You act with calculated intention. Remove obstacles cleanly. No spectacle, no drama, no lingering debris. Dark intelligence is not revenge. It is correction, precise, quiet, unstoppable. Sixth, hide your depth. People fear what they cannot understand. Reveal only fragments of your mind. Let curiosity and uncertainty work in your favor. Make them think they understand you, then watch them falter. They give away their weaknesses when they feel safe, and you take advantage. A master of dark intelligence operates like a ghost. They influence outcomes, manipulate perception, and command environments, without anyone ever suspecting the source. You don't need a throne. You don't need recognition. You are unseen, yet unstoppable. The fox over the lion wins because they know where to step and when to strike unseen. You have become that fox. Every move calculated, every interaction a tool, every silence a weapon. Dark intelligence is power felt, not shown. And now the world begins to respond to your quiet authority. The most dangerous arena is not politics. It is not war. It is relationships. Here, most people lose themselves. They trade logic for emotion. They beg, explain, and surrender power for love, loyalty, or guilt. Dark intelligence changes that. Relationships become power structures. Every interaction is a negotiation. Every compliment a possible bribe. Every silence a signal. Most people reveal too much too early. They want to be liked. They want to be understood. They offer their fears, their pain, their history in exchange for acceptance. You do not. You listen. You observe. You let others expose themselves. You don't reveal your past. You don't justify your standards. You don't correct misunderstandings. The less they know, the less they can manipulate you. Yet you understand everything about them. People will test you. They will try to push boundaries. They will attempt to provoke, to guilt, to control. You don't resist. You vanish. Disrespect is not confronted. It is disqualified. Your silence is more terrifying than your anger. They expect confrontation. They expect retaliation. You offer none. You simply disappear, and that absence speaks louder than any argument could. Soon, behavior shifts. People adjust to your presence without instruction. Not because they fear you, not because you demand it, but because they sense your standards. They feel the weight of your observation. They realize you are not manipulable. Affection no longer grants access. Loyalty without strategy is meaningless. Proximity is a privilege, not a right. You punish not with words. You punish with absence. Those who tried to control you are left to reflect, to wonder, to regret. Dark intelligence does not make you heartless. It makes you precise. You choose who sees you. Even then, you never show your full mind. You chase clarity, not validation. You offer silence to expose desperation. You respond with stillness to demands for explanation. You do not argue. You do not apologize unnecessarily. You do not chase recognition. Your presence alone commands the field. By now, people sense that you are different. They cannot place why, but they know you are not like them. You are not ordinary. You are quiet. You are calculating. You are untouchable. And the regret of those left behind is your silent power. Dark intelligence in relationships is about mastery, not of others, but of yourself. And mastery of self ensures that the game is always played on your terms. By now, something inside you has changed. You no longer react like you once did. You don't argue. You don't over-explain. You don't seek approval. You have become still, but not passive. Quiet, but far from weak. This is the effect of dark intelligence. It refines you into a weapon that doesn't need to be drawn. You can enter a room and say nothing, yet every eye turns toward you, not because of charm, not because of showmanship, but because you carry a presence that feels unpredictable and untouchable. You don't need to dominate. You have outgrown that. People underestimate you, and it becomes your advantage. You wear masks when needed. You speak in layers. You leave no trace of influence. You have become unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the final form. Not a loud genius, not a public mastermind, but a ghost in the system, moving pieces while others struggle to understand the rules. You don't seek revenge. You erase obstacles quietly. You don't argue to prove a point. You win outcomes. Because real power is not displayed, it is felt. You don't chase, you attract. You don't react, you design. You don't break. You watch others collapse under the weight of their own errors. You've stopped playing their game and started creating your own. This is intelligence turned cold. Observation becomes prediction. Emotion becomes a tool, not a master. It is not about being better than others. It is about being smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." Dark intelligence gives you a third path, control without either. People don't need to love you. They don't need to fear you. They only need to know one thing. You are watching, silently, carefully, permanently. And now, if you've come this far, you are no longer curious. You are ready. Ready to stop being predictable. Ready to stop being manipulated. Ready to become dangerously intelligent. The next move is yours. Not by force, not by noise, but by quiet, unstoppable strategy. Dark intelligence is meaningless without action. Observation alone is potential power. Applied observation becomes unstoppable influence. The first principle, control conversations without dominating them. Most people speak to win or to impress. You speak to guide. Let others talk. Let them reveal patterns, intentions, and weaknesses. Ask questions that seem casual, but cut deep. What led you to that? How did that make you feel? What happened after? These are not innocent questions. They extract information while keeping you invisible. Speak just enough to steer thinking. Never expose your full plan. You control the conversation from the inside. Second principle: silence is power. People fear quiet. They rush to fill it. They justify, explain, apologize, panic. You remain still. Your silence weighs on them. It becomes influence without a single word. Third, mirror. Then redirect emotions. If they are angry, reflect it. If insecure, appear unsure. If proud, appear humble. Then turn their energy toward your goal. Anger is deflected. Insecurity is channeled. Pride is positioned where you need it. Manipulation requires patience, not force. Fourth, conceal intentions. Never announce your goals. Never justify your choices. Let misunderstanding persist. When outcomes favor you, reveal the truth quietly. Let them realize, too late, that they were part of your design. This is true control. Fifth, act without emotional attachment. Most act for revenge or ego. You act with calculated precision. Remove obstacles cleanly. No drama, no debris. Dark intelligence is correction, not vengeance. Sixth, hide your depth. Reveal only fragments of your mind. Let curiosity and uncertainty work for you. Let people feel they understand you, then watch them falter. They give away weaknesses when they believe they are safe, and you take advantage. A master of dark intelligence moves like a ghost, influencing outcomes, shaping perceptions, and controlling environments without anyone realizing it. You don't need titles or recognition. You are unseen, yet unstoppable. Like the fox praised by Machiavelli, you know where to step. You strike only when necessary. Every interaction is a tool. Every silence, a weapon. Every word, a carefully measured move. Power is felt, not shown. And now, the world begins to respond to your presence. Not out of fear, not out of love, but out of understanding that you are untouchable. This is the art of moving unseen, the mastery of quiet domination. You have become the fox, silent, precise, unseen, unstoppable. By now, you are no longer the person you once were. You don't chase, you don't react, you don't explain. You have become quiet, but not weak. Still, but far from passive. Your presence is felt without words. Every room, every conversation, every interaction responds to you. Not because you demand it, not because you seek attention, but because you carry the weight of unseen authority. You have become unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the final stage of dark intelligence. You are a ghost moving through the system. No one sees the pieces you manipulate. No one understands the strategies you deploy. You do not seek revenge. You do not argue to prove a point. You do not fight for recognition. You win outcomes, because power is not shown, it is felt. You don't need to dominate. You are already beyond the game. People underestimate you and it becomes your advantage. You wear masks when necessary. You speak in layers. You leave no trace of influence. You have become untouchable. This is intelligence turned cold. Observation becomes prediction. Emotion becomes a tool, not a master. You are no longer guided by love or fear. You are guided by clarity, by calculation, by strategy. Machiavelli said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." Dark intelligence gives you a third path, control without either. People don't need to love you. They don't need to fear you. They only need to know one truth: you are watching silently, carefully, permanently. Your mind is weaponized. Your presence is authority. You do not raise your voice. You do not explain. You do not justify. Your absence says more than words ever could. Those who tried to manipulate you are left to reflect, to regret, to wonder how they miscalculated. You have stopped playing their game. You have started creating your own. You have become the new version of yourself. Not ordinary, not predictable, not manipulable. You are strategic, precise, unseen. And in this quiet mastery, the world begins to move around you. Everything comes to you, and no one sees it coming. This is the power of dark intelligence, the silent domination that turns observation into influence, emotion into advantage, and presence into authority. You are no longer just intelligent. You are dangerous. You've learned the path of dark intelligence, how to observe without being seen, how to turn emotion into insight, how to speak strategically, move silently, and command influence without announcing it. You've discovered the traits that make a mind dangerous: emotional detachment, surgical observation, controlled presence, strategic speech, and unshakable self-reliance. Now it's time to act. Knowledge is only power when applied. Start observing. Start listening. Start shaping your environment quietly, intentionally, strategically. Step into the new version of yourself. You don't need to shout. You don't need to fight. You simply act, and the world begins to respond. If you found value in this journey, take the next step with us. Subscribe to Psychology Insights for more lessons in influence, strategy, and human behavior. Hit the bell so you never miss the tools to sharpen your mind. Like this video if it resonated. Share it with someone who's ready to see the world differently, and comment your thoughts. Remember, dark intelligence isn't just theory, it's a practice. Observation, patience, strategy, and execution. Apply what you've learned. Move silently, think clearly, act decisively. The new version of you is waiting. This is your moment. Take it.